Thank you very much being part of the Tom Leykis Show. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. And I have a very interesting email here. We get a lot of it, and we do recommend that you continue to write us. The address, tom@blowmeuptom.com, because here's further evidence that I read these. I read them all. I pay attention to what you say. And many of the things you say end up as show topics. Here is one who simply signs himself your loving son. And he writes, "Hi, Dad. This is the first time I've ever contacted you. You have been a big part of my life, even though we have never met. You don't even know me. I have been a faithful listener to your show for a long time. I live up here in Olympia, Washington. I'm a general contractor. I'm 36, good-looking, and single. I've never been married, and I have no kids that I know of. But I need some fatherly advice about what is going on in my life right now. I know I can count on you to lead me in the right direction. Here is my situation. I had a good lead on a mobile home remodel. Remember, he's a contractor. So I followed it up. Turns out it is an older woman. I sell her on vinyl siding, windows, and a patio cover. She had already had 3 other salesmen out there, but she didn't like any of them for some reason. But she really took a liking to me. After 3 days, a total of 12 hours, I got her to sign. She made it obvious to me that she didn't even look at my bid proposal when she signed. So I get the materials delivered and begin work. She was always outside watching what I was doing. Checking me out, it appeared. I knew her patties were moist. She made me lunch every day and offered me dinner in the hopes that I would stay later. Let me add that this is a much older woman, single and lonely. She has poor eyesight, only being able to see out of one eye. No driver's license because she would be a hazard to anyone on the road because she is not very, well, what can I say, coordinated. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. She is 69 years old. Yeah, I would say there's an age gap between us. I tried to be as polite as possible not to hurt her feelings, but she kept on buying me things. Not just little stuff either. She bought us a lifetime membership for Trend West Resorts. It's a time-sharing organization. I have a credit card that the bill never comes to me. I haven't paid for gas in a year and a half. I was in the middle of remodeling my home when we met. I now have new hardwood floors, a new kitchen, and the list goes on and on and on. She loves it if I bring her out to my house and let her do my laundry and clean house while I'm at work. She bought me the computer on which I'm writing you this email right now. I needed money to pay off a fine, get myself straightened out when we met. So she wrote me a check for $9,000. It's all pretty overwhelming. But the truth is, I just can't look at her and get horny. I do, as part of my deeds, have to satisfy her. It hasn't been all that many times. I'd say I have made $2,000 every time I've given her my love muscle. She calls me Mr. W, which stands for Mr. Wonderful. I'm flattered and all. I'm flattered and all, but Tom, I need to have some good old animal sex with someone who will be able to handle what I want to do. And I need to be able to look at a chick and say, you're hot. And I'm going to pork you all night because I want to. Tom, what do? I don't want here to hurt the old lady, but I feel I'm too much of a pussy to explain it to her face that I need to be getting laid by women my age. Maybe even start a family someday. Who knows? Can you give me some good fatherly advice? Thanks, Dad, your loving son. My loving son, the general contractor from Olympia, Washington, he's 36. And his sugar mama is 69. Almost twice his age. And by the way, I'm going to keep this person's anonymity, but he wanted to prove it to me. And so he sent me a photograph taken at Christmas time in front of the Christmas tree of the two of them. And it's scary. I'm sure he's fairly certain she's not listening to this show. So, what's amazing to me is the last two paragraphs here, because it sounds almost as if he feels like they've got a relationship of some kind. How do I tell her? How do I tell her? Like, it sounds to me like you want to keep the money coming, and you want to bang other chicks, and you're going to have to tell her in order to get away with that. I mean, for me, here's my issue, okay? As a guy, I don't like the idea of being supported by somebody else, especially a one-eyed 69-year-old chick who has bad coordination. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You know, it'd be one thing if Gina Lollobrigida came along and said, just service me and I'll give you money. But I saw the picture. This is not Gina Lollobrigida, okay? It's not Sophia Loren. It's not Raquel Welch we're talking about here. This is Mrs. Popeye. That's what we're talking about here. I mean, my attitude about it is, all right, you got all this money, you got all this good stuff. It's time to wean yourself away from the needle and go back to earning a living, pal. And go back to banging chicks your own age instead of wasting your time with somebody like this. That is my attitude. Now, Dean says, marry her until she dies and then take the money. But then he's got to keep spending time with her, Dean. He's got to be over there. He's got to be paying attention. That's not going to work. But I'd be willing to bet there's a lot of you boys out there with a similar arrangement, where you are essentially servicing somebody. Maybe it's only once in a while because they're too old to get on all fours. Or maybe it's, my God, somebody who's 70 or 72 or 65 who needs it 3 times a day. And I'd love to hear the details of that, and I'd love to hear how much you're getting, what you're getting. And is this the only quote-unquote relationship you have, Mr. Gigolo? Or do you actually have like a girlfriend or a wife or somebody that you're really into, and then you do this on the side to get a few bucks? If you have an arrangement like this with a sugar mama, I'd like to hear all about it.
Tom Leykis. Tom Leykis. 100 500 Tom.
You sound like such a real nice guy.
I am anything but a nice guy.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom, guys who have sugar mamas. I got to hear these stories. Mike on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Dad. Thanks for taking my call.
Not a problem, son.
Hey, Dad. Quick shout-out to working the boards for you up at the Buzz in Seattle for you.
Oh, there we go.
And I'm going to have to agree with Snuggles.
Oh, really?
Yes, I agree that he should continue seeing the grandma. He should start getting her in extreme sports like some hang gliding or something. So when she finally does croak, all the money will be left to him.
Oh, boy.
And keep in mind, Tom, when chicks have a sugar daddy, they're not spending all the time with them. The guy calls, bangs her when he wants to, and that's all the time that a chick has to. And it's the same, principle with this guy.
Now, are you doing something like this?
Oh, heck no.
Why not?
I'm not into gilfs, Tom. You know what I'm saying?
Or gilfs.
22-year-old bodies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. But again, he's doing this for compensation, it seems.
Yeah, but I just had to, I'm calling from Olympia, so I had to give a little advice to my Olympia brother here. So keep on banging the gilf, and hopefully she'll kick off and leave him all the money.
Thank you, Mike.
Love you, Tom.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. It's Dan on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, what's going on there, Tom?
Not much, Dan.
Well, I'll tell you about a situation I had going on one time. I was working for the state with disabled people, and we work in a home, we take care of them, and my supervisor ended up being my boss. And it started out with some, misty glares and some maybe flirting going on here and there, and then one night we just hooked up, and I never realized just how wealthy she was until she invited me to go out to a casino one time, went down to Pachanga, and we were sitting at these blackjack tables, and she was just giving me chips, and I must have blew at least, the first night I went out there, at least 10 grand, and I was like, oh my gosh, and when I got back, I was like, I always wanted a dirt bike, and, I told her about getting, not a sob story, but, I laid it on to her, and the next thing you know, we got the Honda dealership, and not only did I get a dirt bike, I ended up getting, a sports bike, too, so I can ride on-road and off-road, and I'd have to give her a bang, when I went to work, and I had a girlfriend I was living with on the side, so it was weird. It kind of, effed up my relationship because
Wait, how old was she, by the way, this chick?
She was, I'm going to say in her late 50s.
All right, you're 27. She was in her late 50s.
I was 23 when I started it, and she was probably in her early 50s.
Okay.
And,
so now, how often were you banging this chick?
Well, I was working there 3 days a week, so I was nailing her about 3 days a week.
And where did you go for this activity?
Well, the place provides us with a place where the employees can sleep, so we were the two people on shift that nighttime.
Oh, boy. Now, what was it like being with a chick that age?
People say experience, but she had a lot of body work done. She's really Californiaized. She had the fake breast and the tummy tuck and the eye lift, and, she didn't look like she was in her 50s. And, I mean, if you ask me, was it worth it? Absolutely. I mean, I'm sitting high in a hog with a dirt bike, a quad, a trailer, an Explorer, and the list goes on and on. And money,
really?
Just a Rolex.
The Rolex? Did you ever add up to figure out about how much she'd spent on you?
Well over $100,000.
No.
But here's the thing, Tom. This is what effed me up. See, the girl that I was living with, she was like, well, I want to go out here, I want to go out there. And I tell her, I don't have the money to do that. But, Tom, when I rolled up in an SL 500, she was like, you don't have the money to take me out to the effing Olive Garden, but you have money to buy an SL 500. And I didn't buy this, Tom, but it was given to me. And I tried telling her, my father did pass away. I told her that it was inheritance from my father passing away. But no matter which way you looked at it, she just thought I was really selfish with my money, and I didn't want to give anything to her. But it's not that I had any money to give to her. It was just that I was a pig, and I didn't want to admit it,
Wow.
That's how men are, aren't they?
Well, of course. Now, how long did you bang this chick?
I banged her about 3 years, man, and it was great.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome. And you know what? She let me go. I'd go to work, and she'd say, oh, yeah, go to work. And I wouldn't go to work. And then, it was just, I'd have off nights, and then I'd tell my girlfriend that I have to go to work that weekend. And then I really didn't have to go to work that weekend, but we go to Vegas and just, just sleep in the hotel room late mornings, order in, gamble her money away, and that was it. Come back. How was your day at work, honey? The weekend was long, Get the sympathy back rub when I come home. I get the best of both ends.
Wow.
But, eventually all good things come to an end.
And how did it end?
It ended with my ex scratching up all my porn with a butter knife, and I don't know, just bad things like that. And then
so your ex found out about it?
I never told her about it, but if she's listening, how you doing, Chen? And sorry about that. And but that was it. It just ended like that. And
so what was the reason your girlfriend broke up with you?
Because she thought I was selfish, and I didn't expect.
Because she thought you were selfish. She didn't know that You had a 50-something-year-old chick buying you things.
I'm a lot smarter than that. Come on, Tommy.
Right.
Some credit here.
And then you stopped banging the old broad?
Because I had some mixed emotions. I was like, oh, you're the reason why this relationship broke up. And in a way, I just didn't want to lead her on anymore because she started coming over to my house and checking up on me, making sure I wasn't with any other women. And she got really involved emotionally, and it was like a real drag on me. And I was like...
Was she a moaner or a screamer?
A moaner.
Really?
Yeah. So that was it.
Wow.
That's my story, Tom. So can you blow me up and get me out of here?
Of course I can. What a story. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Brian on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Going okay, Brian.
Well, check this out, Tom. I was in the military. I got out about a year and a half ago. I've been married for 4 years. I know what you're going to say about being married at 27, but I've only been listening to you for about 6 months. So. Got married about 4 years ago. Got out of the military about a year and a half ago. Decided to start a company with a little bit of capital I'd gained from going overseas. I started a computer company, and my first customer was a 48-year-old woman, and I built her computer, and I set up her house, and she ordered training from me. I went over there to help her learn how to use her computer. She ended up having a thing for me, and long story short, in a little less than a year and a half, she has, helped my company basically make me about 6 figures a year now. Just buying so many computers, a month, giving me capital to buy new equipment, paying the lease on my building, my warehouse. So much stuff, and I give it to her about once every 2 weeks or so. Whenever she's in the mood, I took her out to dinner maybe once a month. Nothing special. My wife knows of her, but she doesn't know about our relationship. And I love my wife, but I consider it part of the job.
Part of the job. It's this is the way you make money to support your family.
Well, build the business, and that's going to support my family, in the future, because it's a vast...
So you don't think there's anything wrong with this? It's just helping build your business.
Exactly. Exactly. There's 2 ways you can get capital. You can get a loan, or you can do something, what I'm doing, or you can work your butt off for about 6 years and hope your company somehow survives. In less than a year and a half, I've done what companies have been trying to do for 4 or 5 years. And, it might be a little immoral, but that's just the way I look at it.
And what happens if your wife catches you?
And then we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some problems.
You're not going to give her that same explanation you gave me, huh? Honey, it's just part of building a business.
Yeah, honey, come on. No, that wouldn't work. But, hey, what are you going to do? And she's not too bad looking either. She's 49 now. She's not too bad looking. I'm not really sexually aroused by her, give or take, but she's, it's a sweet person.
How is she in bed?
You know what? This is the weird part. Is if I had to rate her against my wife, I would say she was better at certain aspects of relations. My wife is young, maybe that's why she doesn't know stuff, but this girl gives the best fellatio I've ever had.
Oh boy! And is she a moaner or a screamer?
She's a moaner. She just sort of hums to herself the entire time.
Hums to herself.
It's a little comical.
Yeah.
She hums while we're doing it. What's funny?
By the way, how old's your mom?
My mom's about 52, so they're only 2 years apart.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Tom, can you take me out Kobe style?
I'll do that. Sure, I will.
This is about us. She's so special to me. Yeah, it beats in my heart. Yeah, the air I breathe. She's so special to me.
1-800-5800-TOM.
Really?
1-800-5800-866.
I know when my dad took the strap to me, I damn well deserved it.
Nobody deserves that.
You don't think you learned a lesson along the way? You turned out all right, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm 46 and I learned not to have kids. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
The Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles, it is the Tom Leykis Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. And we move closer to Boys Night Out, Friday, June 17th at the Wiltern Theater, 8 p.m. here in Los Angeles. It's a night for guys only. No chicks. No wives, no girlfriends, no mistresses, no moms, no grandmothers, no sugar mamas. It's just the guys. Oh, yeah, there'll be chicks on stage to look at. All kinds of females to entertain you. But there will be no women in the audience unless they insist, in which case that means there's some pussy who brought these chicks. Because, you know, women are the cheapest creatures on earth, right? Now, tonight for the guys only, it's Boys Night Out. Friday, June 17th, 8 p.m., Wiltern Theater. Tickets available at Ticketmaster or the Wiltern Theater box office. You can go to blowmeuptom.com, and we link you right into the ticket page. And you can get your tickets for Boys Night Out, Friday, June 17th. We'll see you there. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. We're talking to guys who have what they call sugar mamas. It's Steve on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Steve.
Good, good. Yeah, I kind of got a unique story for you, and it's been a while since I've even had to talk about this. I used to fly for one of the airlines. I was one of the flight attendants that flew domestic and international. Mm-hmm. And one of the airlines I worked for, without mentioning the name, they were, say, the Friendly Airlines.
Yes.
And I had dated a gal who I had met on a layover in Chicago, right there on Lake Michigan. Had no idea who she was, met her, and she ended up being the daughter of one of the big CEOs of a large corporation called RJR, before the merger.
Yes.
And, you know, the gal had to be at least 12, 15 years older than me, possibly.
So how old were you?
I was about 25. She was about 37, 36.
Uh-huh.
Well built. I mean, took great care of her body, smoking body, great rack that works.
And you were the straight flight attendant that worked for that airline.
Well, you know, I hate to say it, but it's like shooting fish in a barrel when you're a male flight attendant and you're working with 18 gorgeous women on a 747.
Right, and most of the guys who do that for a living seem to be gay.
Well, you know, they really do, and usually the airlines puts, you know, one or two straight guys on there, or one or two guys, one being straight or one possibly not. And I ended up getting, you know, the cream of the crop when I was with the airlines. It was great.
But you did.
It was probably one of the best career moves I ever made because it helps today's date. But as far as the gal that we're talking about, it first started out where we were dating and I'd fly on layovers and we'd hook up and, you know, we'd pound it out on the weekends and do whatever. Mm-hmm. But then it got progressively more interesting. I mean, she started buying nice suits, throwing big parties, driving around in the parents' cars that had their personal license plates on them of who they were. And, you know, we're talking, you know, very nice exotic automobiles.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where she ended up moving to Southern California, which is where I reside, buying a place down there and wanting me to end up being her, I guess, her permanent servicer, if you will.
Really?
And I'm telling you.
God, I wonder how many women this age or older have guys like you doing.
Well, you know, I'd be surprised that the numbers aren't larger than what a lot of the callers are calling in, just because I had experienced through the years of flying with the airline that it was pretty predominant. A lot of older gals, flight attendants mostly, would date the younger guys, the younger flight attendants, mostly probably because of the adaptability of the schedule. But they were, you know, pretty avant-garde on layovers. And
that's what I've heard, especially, not to mention the airline, but when your hub is Chicago, and you got bad weather, and sometimes you get snowed in, and there you are at the hotel, I have to imagine some hijinks will ensue.
You know, take it one step further. I mean, say you're laying over in Maui, and here you've got a couple of hot crew members, and you're there for 2 days, and the sun's going down, you got the beach, and you've had a couple of Mai Tais or what have you. You know, promiscuism was really prevalent when you would do stuff like that.
Really?
But it also worked with, you know, not to sound like, you know, the male whore that I was, but I hope it's okay to say that.
Yes, of course.
But the fact remains that it was really predominant, and it was very easy to meet these passengers that were away. And more women do cheat than people think. A lot of them do.
A lot of these flight attendants are married, and I'll bet they still cheat.
Absolutely, including customers, too, that we used to have on the planes as well. But as far as the gal goes, back to your topic today, it really got quite aggressive. I mean, she was sending cases of pastry goods and products to all my family members, my relatives, calling my mom, things of that nature, buying well over $150,000 worth of monetary goods and items, paying for this, paying for that, flying back and forth first class, going to Vegas. And then the topic of it all is she knew that I was trying out for my stockbroker Series 7 license. And she said she can guarantee that I'd have all of her uncles, relatives, all the dad's acquaintances, and handle their entire portfolios if we were to get married. She was going to hire a private jet to fly my family down to Vegas. It was quite a sort of rendezvous, if you will. Really enjoyed the company. She was a great person, but it seems like it almost became like lockjaw, every time we were together. It was like I was pranced around as if I was some kind of object rather than the person.
Oh, yes. She was objectifying you.
Yeah. And
you didn't like that.
I'd go to a party. She'd have a party and get a brand new suit. It'd be laid out. She'd have the whole party done with, like, Pierre Jolet champagne, and she'd prance me around like I was the stupid trophy. And I'll tell you, man, that just really rakes on your nerves.
So you had to end it?
Well, my conscience got the better side of me. I had a clear choice to make, because when the proposal of getting married and going to Vegas came up, I had to decide whether I wanted to be owned by someone who can take away everything they gave me, or live the extent of where this can go. And if it was this easy to address the emotions and the feelings she had towards me that quickly, I'm sure it probably could be just as easily taken away and addressed to someone else. And so I kind of chose the, gentleman way out and said, I think we just need to call this off. And then that became a big saga. That became a huge saga with calling family members and things of that nature.
You mean you calling them, or she was calling them?
She was calling them.
She was calling your family members going, he's breaking up with me!
Exactly.
Oh, my God. And, of course, they were going, she's so nice, I don't know why you're doing that.
My sisters thought I were crazy. Most of my sisters are older, and one of them is also with an airline. And they thought I was crazy. They thought my future was set. I was going to be a multimillionaire. But the punani wasn't just enough to keep me around at that point.
And was it not that good?
Actually, it wasn't bad in the beginning, because, anything new, it's exciting. And
anything new is good.
The body was phenomenal.
If you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, that old saying, behind every possibly good-looking woman, there's possibly a guy back there who's probably tired of her, ranting and raving. So that's kind of what it got to. But she kept herself in great shape. We'd go out to dinner. She'd get phenomenal looks. And she definitely, looked a lot younger than she was. And, the sex was great. But all good things had to come to an end just because I didn't like the fact of being owned by somebody.
And this one did.
And this one did.
Unbelievable.
1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
Yeah, I don't believe that chivalry's dead. I just think it's wounded. I'll open a door for a woman, but by the same token, I'm expecting something in return.
Yeah, see, I open a door for a woman if I think she's about to unzip my fly.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Richie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Well, Tom.
Hey.
Second time caller here.
Yes.
I'm here in Manhattan Beach on the beach. Thankfully, they're one of these women.
Uh-huh.
One of the largest divorce settlements in history. She's about 30 years my senior. And my family was in business with her, training racehorses here locally in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically her boy toy to keep all the other interests away.
Really?
Yeah, my parents basically employed me, just because there's always hawks, this lady was worth close to $1 billion. And I basically went on trips and outings and events and had an Austin Martin, a limo, 2 maids, house in Beverly Hills.
You owned all this, or you were just using it?
I just kind of inherited it, I would say.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Now, how long did this go on?
This went on from the late 80s to about 96, 97.
And what ended it?
What ended it was a Valerie Parker at one of the racetracks who had been flirting with her for years, who wasn't much older than myself. He's probably late 30s, early 40s. Took her vehicle registration, got her address off there. Like I said, I was very protective of such, and he showed up on her door one night, and they got drunk, and they're kind of together ever since.
So he came in from the bullpen and relieved you?
Yeah, he relieved me, but like I said, I'm living down here on the beach in Manhattan Beach, and
so she didn't just lend you this stuff; she gave it to you.
She gave it to me. I mean,
so you're living on Manhattan Beach in a house given to you by this chick.
Yes.
Wow.
And like I said, I was smart enough to squirrel money away here and there. You know, we go to Vegas, and she'd be playing $25,000 a hand blackjack and give me a rack of chips to go have some fun. And I knew better this wasn't going to last forever, so just putting it away here and there, and now I have the fun.
Listen to you.
Yeah.
And when these chicks meet you now you meet all the young chicks.
Exactly.
Because you live in that great house with that view of sunset every night.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's great.
Wow.
I recommend it to, you know, if they're in a doldrum, you know, definitely step it up a little bit and find one of these women to take care of them for.
So you recommend this?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say you can't get the young one still on the side, you know. I mean, but
and what was it like having sex with her?
Pretty darn good. I mean, she had the best surgeon in the world to help keep her together, but the fakies were a little bit on the hard side, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
They kind of have the signature of the NBA commissioner on there?
Yeah, I think those ones, they were done about 25, 30 years ago, and they're really, really, really hardened up, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was all good, you know. It's just after a while, you just kind of blank out the having sex part and start thinking about, you know,
living on the beach.
Living on the beach, and you know, and I went to Cal, and, you know, it's not that, so I'm smart enough to know. Let's pick the easy way out when they give it to you. It's not going to always be there.
Unbelievable. Our email address is my name. It's tom@blowmeuptom.com. tom@blowmeuptom.com. Or send us a text message to TXTOM at 89866.
The Tom Leykis Show.